Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is one of many groups in our local area that is working on fighting climate change at the grassroots, community to community, and battling some of the ways that in our local area we can make some change and prevent the effects of climate change from having long-standing effects on generations to come. Let's take a look at a short video with some of the more information on what they do.
Recent changes in the climate are unprecedented in thousands of years. It is indisputable that human activities are causing climate change, making extreme climate events more frequent and severe.
The climate crisis is real, and it is here. Nearly 1/3 of Americans lived through a climate disaster last summer.
The impact does not affect all of us equally.
Those in our society with less power and fewer resources, already more vulnerable, are often hardest hit.
Jewish values compel us to confront this crisis,
and our commitment to Jewish community compels us to do so together.
Acknowledging the existential threat and moral urgency of the climate crisis, 20 national and international umbrella Jewish organizations have come together in our commitment to climate action, forming the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition.
Our coalition represents major Jewish organizations engaging millions of people of all ages and backgrounds across the world. Together, we recognize the urgency of the climate crisis and our obligation to do more.
We commit to climate action.
We commit to climate action.
We commit to climate action.
This winter, as we head into the first Tu B'Shvat of a new 7-year Shemitah cycle, we will release our climate action plans.
With commitments from each of our organizations.
We will continue to meet regularly and to report publicly on our activities, accomplishments, and commitments each year.
We invite Jewish organizations everywhere to join us.
Join us. Sign on to the coalition and create your own climate action plan.
Our goal is for hundreds of Jewish organizations to participate so that we can take collective action on this critical issue.
We're here to support you in leading climate action in your Jewish community.
The Jewish people have a long history.
Our ancestors endured suffering and calamity, then rose to meet the next challenge.
It is our generation's imperative to confront this existential crisis together with communities across the world.
I want to thank Hazon for rallying the Jewish organizational world behind this great banner.
Our children and grandchildren need us.
Our children and grandchildren need us.
Our children and our grandchildren need us.
So let's come together to take action.
Let's continue on. Joining us now on the Megacast from the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is Risa, Alyson, Cooper, as well as Amit, Weitzer on today's edition of the Megacast. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good to have you both with us today. So Risa is Hazon's Chief Climate Officer, and Amit is Hazon Detroit's Executive Director, and are two of the members of the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition. So let's start with you, Risa. Can you tell us a little bit about this organization, this coalition of different groups in our local area that are working to battle climate change?
Sure thing. So the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is a collective of Jewish community organizations who recognize the existential threat, the moral urgency of the climate crisis, and are committed to taking meaningful climate action. Hazon has 20 founding partners who have worked alongside us to vision and launch this coalition. The 20 founding partners represent umbrella organizations of Jewish life. And as of last Thursday, the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is now open to Jewish community organizations everywhere to sign on and to join us. All coalition members are asked to sign the founding statement, which essentially says that we, as leaders of the Jewish community organization, we recognize that climate crisis is real and we are committed to taking action. Organizations also designate a staff liaison who is going to coordinate their organization's climate action work. And then the biggest piece of what it means to participate in the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is that all organizations commit to developing, implementing, evaluating, and sharing out annually a climate action plan, which basically sets the strategic priorities of that organization in terms of their climate action work, detailing both actions that they've taken to date, as well as ways in which they will reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in the coming year, and also help to mobilize their broader networks around climate action.
And then, so Amit, when did this coalition begin to come together? At what point did these different organizations decide we have to do something and we're better off working together to find some of these solutions in our local communities?
I'm actually going to pass that over to Risa to talk about the genesis of the program.
Okay.
So the founding partners started coming together in February, March of this year. This was one of the things that came out of Yakir Minella, Hazon CEO, participated in COP26 in the UN's Climate Summit last year. And the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition was an idea that came out of that experience, wanting to think about how we can mobilize the Jewish community organizations, Jewish institutions around climate action. So the Yakir brought this to the founding partner organizations. They began meeting back in February, March of this year. And as I said, just as of last week, the coalition is now open for organizations everywhere to join.
Among some of the organizations, but not all of them, that are in the coalition, the JCC Association of North America, the Birthright Israel is also in it, Hillel International, also a member of the organization, and of course, the organization both of you are from, Hazon, also a member of the coalition. So going to you, Amit, from Hazon's perspective, you as the executive director, what was the motivation behind your organization joining in on this cause? What about your mission made this the perfect coalition to join in on to combat some of these issues?
Well, I'm the director of Hazon's work in Detroit. And so I can share that here in Detroit, Hazon has been convening for over 5 years the Seal of Sustainability program. So has been working with and supporting Jewish organizations in community with one another, integrating environmental stewardship, environmental education into their work year-round. And so this is a really extraordinary and ambitious and critical way of building upon that long-standing work and commitment to integrating environmental education, stewardship, and action into Jewish life, and focused on the specific moment that we're in as it relates to the climate crisis. And so locally in Detroit, we see this as sort of the next step, the next layer on top of the Seal of Sustainability work that has been engaging over 40 organizations in the local Detroit metro area. And Risa, perhaps you can speak to nationally.
Sure, please, Risa.
So nationally, since launching last week, we already have, I believe we're up to 70 Jewish community organizations that have signed on, and another 90 or so organizations that have registered for our upcoming information sessions to learn more about the coalition and what it means to be involved, as well as what levels of support Hazon will be providing coalition members in order to help them move forward in their climate action planning. And those layers of support include hosting educational webinars, providing climate action plan templates, and as well, we have a climate action fund where organizations can apply for interest-free loans as well as matching grants in order to be able to support their climate action work.
So these are a number of organizations across not just Michigan, but even beyond the state of Michigan. But it's just a group of several organizations. How much of an impact can a coalition of these many organizations across the U.S. really have on climate change in the future? What are some of the ways that can actually see some results?
That's a great question. In Pirkei Avot, in the Ethics of Our Ancestor, which is a Jewish text, there is a teaching that we don't have to complete the work, but neither are we free to desist from it. So even if we manage to get every Jewish community organization across North America to join the coalition and to develop robust climate action plans and achieve net zero emissions over the course of the next 6 or 7 years, even that would be a tiny step forward in terms of the global mobilization that is needed in order to really address the climate crisis. And we know that the Jewish community does have a significant impact, and not just within our own community, but also an opportunity to help to mobilize other communities, other faith-based, other religious communities to think about developing similar initiatives. And if we think about this as one initiative, one moment in time that can have incredible ripples out beyond the Jewish community, I think that the opportunity for impact is actually very significant.
You can learn more information about the coalition by visiting hazon.org/coalition, hazon.org/coalition to learn more information. Joining us from Hazon are Risa, Alyson Cooper, and Amit Weitzer, who are both also with the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition through Hazon on today's edition of the Megacast. So in terms of this organization itself, what are some of those individual missions that you're taking on? You mentioned some of them, but on a broader scope that you're encouraging some of these organizations to take over the course of time. And really, even beyond that, what sort of community action is being taken on us to engage people from not just within these organizations, but the communities that they serve to also partake in some way to make their impact on climate change as well?
Amit, do you want to share within the Detroit community?
Sure. I mean, so as I mentioned, where this is really building on a strong foundation over the last 5 years of more than 40 Jewish organizations setting and meeting goals related to sustainability. So that has included institutional gardening initiatives and really learning about and changing and thinking about where our food comes from and integrating that into the culture and identity of organizations. That has been really meaningful work as it relates to waste and thinking about where our waste goes and mitigating and minimizing waste. It's included energy audits, changing light bulbs, investments in green infrastructure like EV chargers. And what we're excited about is now to have the additional resources and sort of structure provided by the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition to take it to the next level. There have been folks who've been exploring the possibility of community solar, and now they can do that in partnership with other organizations that are within their same sort of category of organization or other organizations within the same region. So we're excited that beyond the work we have been doing was connected through the Detroit community and sort of regional. What this new initiative is bringing is also connection via kind of type of organization so that JCCs across the country can be in community with one another, brainstorming, workshopping what's going to make the most impact for our type of organization, our challenges, our opportunities. Synagogues can do the same thing, day schools. So we're excited to take what we've been learning over the last few years and go to the next step together.
And Amit, to continue on with you, from Hazon's perspective, how does participation in a group like the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition fit into your mission and some of the work that your organization is doing right here in the Detroit area?
Well, I mean, it's really integral to our theory of change and how we see our work. Our mission is to support the meaningful integration of environmental sustainability, climate action, outdoor experience into Jewish life. And so this is a huge piece of our work, really mobilizing Jewish communities, institutions, and the individuals that are a part of those institutions to think of themselves as change agents and to be able to focus and really share specific resources as it relates to climate action and being a part of something larger. We all know, and Risa sort of mentioned, this is a very overwhelming concept, and it can feel hard to figure out where to begin. And what I love about the Jewish Climate Leadership Coalition is that it provides that place for people so that there's a place to begin or to continue the work that many of us have been doing as individuals or institutions, and to do it in community so that it's more sustaining, more nourishing, and we can do it for the long haul, which is how we're going to have to be doing it together.
Well, Risa, Amit, appreciate both of you joining us and telling us about this coalition of organizations and the work that you're doing to help combat climate change.
Thank you for the time.